What I'm really excited to talk to you about today is trends of how you use data. And so I want to know, what were some of the old ways or the traditional ways we've seen in the last probably decade that impact reporting is really important for funders. And there are a few organizations that drove that change that are really saying, we want to see dollar for dollar where the money is going, and we want to be more involved in supervising nonprofits. Whereas the older days, like with the legacy organizations, our grandparents' generation, they were much more trusting of organizations and really loyal to brands. So they'd have one corporation would tie to one nonprofit, and they were just teamed up for century or decades at a time, excuse me, not centuries. But, like I worked with the March of Dimes as an example, and they've gone through major changes in the last 5 years where they used to have corporations giving hundreds, if not millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And it's sort of, they did it because they'd always done it. Now that in the last decade or so, we're seeing a lot more scrutiny and a lot more of the corporate giving from the bottom up, where employees are directing where they want their money to go. Corporations are matching that. And then you've got foundations who are really looking at where is the impact, what's the ROI, what's the overhead. And now I think we're in a new stage. And that's what I want, that's what you were sharing with me when we were talking. And I want to hear, what is the new stage, or what's the new evolution of how we're evaluating our work, and when we're contributing to an organization, how do we know if it's worth contributing to?
Yeah, great question. And a difficult question. If it were easy to answer, somebody would have written a book and we all would have bought it, and we'd be on our way. And I really appreciate the way you encapsulate, I think, some of the big picture shifts in terms of relationships between donors, both more institutional donors, but as well as individuals, and how they think about their expectations for mission-driven organizations, and what level of evidence they want. And I think that, it's been really interesting in my career to see the shift from what was a fairly technocratic approach, if you will, that we can measure the right things, and we just have to figure out what the right things are, and that will give us the answer about, is this organization making a difference? Are people better off? Yes or no? We shouldn't lose sight of the importance of having good information about the organizations that we're working with, that we're contributing to. At the same time, and what we're seeing in our work is just a much greater appreciation for the fact that mission-driven organizations, nonprofits especially, are working in really complex spaces with really difficult to fix problems. I heard an awesome interview with Phil Buchanan from the Center for Effective Philanthropy, whose book, Giving Done Right, is awesome. And something he says over and over is that nonprofits are working to address things that the market economy hasn't been able to fix. And so as a result, applying market economy or business, so-called business principles, is probably not the right way forward, because these organizations are trying to correct things that the market has created. And while that may not be true every single time in every single instance, I think it's a really helpful point of view that it's not making a better mousetrap, that helping people who are chronically unemployed find work is hard and complicated and difficult work, and not a straight line. Or, heaven knows, educating a young person to be their fullest selves is hard and complicated and difficult work. And so all that to say, it's been really exciting in our field to see much greater appreciation for how complex and challenging this kind of work really is, and to see a corresponding appreciation of that in things like measurement and evaluation and performance management. And so we're seeing quite literally a shift from phrases like monitoring and evaluation to evaluation and learning, or learning and quality improvement. And I don't think that that's putting new clothes over the same old outfit. I think it really is reflecting a greater appreciation for this need for something more dynamic, more sophisticated than thumbs up, thumbs down. Did it work or did it not?
Mm, I love that. And so, what does that mean? What does it look like to show learning over time?
Yeah, and we're seeing a variety of different strategies in our work, and of course, it's always going to depend on the different needs of the organization and their funders that they're working with. I think three things really come to mind. One is we're definitely seeing a greater emphasis on accountability for learning and growth processes within nonprofits rather than hitting a particular mark. And so, for example, one of my colleagues at the Center for Youth Program Quality talks about let's have accountability for nonprofit organizations for engaging in the process of inquiry and reflection and improvement, and let go of the stakes when it comes to did you get a 3.5 out of 5? Did you get a 4.2 out of 5? With certain boundaries, we want to make sure that kids are safe, that people aren't, buying themselves gold-plated watches with funders' money, but that let's incentivize the learning and improvement process more so than the end goal. So we're seeing that really showing up in lots of different places in our field, and frankly, I'm really excited about that.
With this latest valuable episode, we'd love to thank you for joining us on the Creating Community for Good podcast. If you found today's show valuable, simply visit our website, creatingcommunityforgood.com, to leave a review as well as to get access to additional resources and relevant links from this show. Stay tuned for more episodes.